All right, time to talk about election 2024. Another South Carolinian is in the race to be the president of the United States. Senator Tim Scott announced his candidacy today to a packed house at Charleston Southern University, his alma mater. The 57-year-old brought his mama on stage, telling his story of being raised by a single mom in a small apartment, saying his mom told him instead of being a victim of his circumstance to be victorious. Senator Scott said that America was the land of opportunity, not the land of oppression, if you are willing to work, saying everybody in America who is able-bodied should go to work.
President Biden, our nation is retreating away from work and dignity. Millions and millions of people have dropped out of the workforce entirely. And the share of working-age men choosing to work is the lowest it has ever been. That is pathetic. This administration has taxed, borrowed, and spent trillions of dollars trying to replace a hand up with handouts. And all they bought us was crushing inflation that has devastated families like the one I was raised in.
Well, Scott went on to say that he feels he's the candidate the far left fears the most, saying he will cut taxes. Now, Senator Scott is now hitting the road. He'll be making stops in Iowa and New Hampshire. Scott's candidacy presents a unique situation in South Carolina politics. Former Governor Nikki Haley originally appointed Scott to his U.S. Senate seat after Jim DeMint stepped down, and now the pair are competing for the country's highest office. Political science professor Todd Shaw with USC spoke to us about the two candidates and what their campaigns could mean for the Republican Party.
Republican voters in particular now have to make a decision between a former governor and a former governor who selected someone to fill a Senate vacancy. So the former governor is Nikki Haley, and the person that she appointed to fill a vacancy in the Senate and then went on to successfully run for the office is Senator Scott. Their careers in some interesting ways are somewhat tied together. I think his message is going to be about hopefulness and about America being best days ahead, and that the Republican Party is a diverse party. That's not exactly true in the sense of the ways in which there is a divide between the parties in terms of who supports the parties. But it's a case he's going to try and make, I believe. It may be the case that in some ways, Senator Scott, maybe Governor Haley, are trying to, they wouldn't say it this way at all, but are trying to kind of make an Obama case within the Republican Party about how can I bring a diverse face to the party or greater diversity to the party to make to draw a bigger tent and to draw voters who typically would have voted for the Democratic Party or wouldn't have voted at all over to the Republican side.
Senator Tim Scott joins 5 other Republicans to announce their run for presidency. They are President Donald Trump, Nikki Haley, of course, former governor of South Carolina, then Asa Hutchinson, Vivek Ramaswamy, who was just in Columbia over the weekend, and Larry Elder. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former Vice President Mike Pence are also expected to join the race. All right, now looking at the Democratic candidates, President Joe Biden, of course, is running for re-election. There's also Marianne Williamson. She is an author and spiritual advisor. She also ran back in 2020. There's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and also West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin could possibly run, but he says he's not going to make a decision until later on this year.
Tomorrow.